The Heart of Salford Awards are Salford CVS and Volunteer Centre Salford's annual event to celebrate volunteering and voluntary community and social enterprise organisations in Salford. One of the highlights of our year, the awards put inspiring volunteers and brilliant VCSE organisations centre stage. We have been hosting the awards since 2003, and over the years thousands of people have joined us to thank those making a difference in Salford. Despite the challenges of COVID-19, we didn't want to miss a year, especially when local people and organisations have shown so much heart in responding to the pandemic in Salford. We wanted the focus to be thanking those making a difference in Salford, which is why this year we haven't chosen category winners. Instead, our panel of judges have selected some nominees to be specially recognised for their contribution. These nominees were presented with a special recognition framed certificate and a gift hamper filled with local, social and ethical goods as a token of our thanks for everything they do. This film showcases the specially recognised nominees and features a big thank you to everyone who was nominated. We know that now more than ever it is important to recognise the massive contribution made by volunteers, mutual aid groups and VCSE organisations across our city.
Since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, people across the city have been stepping forward, showing the spirit of Salford and helping in a wide range of ways. DEBORAH is a local cafe owner and volunteer of many years who turned her cafe into a hub for refugees and people seeking asylum to obtain food parcels and wellbeing support packs. DEBORAH provided refugees and people seeking asylum with reassurance and support during the pandemic, helping them to understand the risk of coronavirus and the restrictions. Without DEBORAH's help, many people who are not eligible for state support would be struggling alone. DEBORAH shows love and kindness to everyone she helps. She's determined to bring the community together and break down cultural stigma and racism. People like Denise, who organised and distributed food parcels funded by the Salford CVS Crisis Fund to people across the city. Denise is a chairperson of Connect Youth and Community Centre, who have over 40 members, and she has been instrumental in the running of virtual activities throughout the pandemic, including singing groups, coffee mornings and art clubs. Denise is an inspirational leader who works hard to reduce social isolation and bring members of the group together to support each other. Volunteer drivers like Julia have been a vital part of the response to coronavirus in Salford. Julia volunteers with Stork Support, Visit from the Stork COVID-19 project. She's delivered over 100 parcels of baby essentials to families across Greater Manchester since April 2020. Julia has given over 50 hours of her time towards the project and is always willing to take on extra jobs when needed. Delivering the packages to families in hardship ensures children are well fed and clothed and helps to relieve some of the stress and anxiety for families during these challenging times.
We also want to recognise the volunteers who are doing amazing work before the pandemic and who will continue to play a vital role in our communities as we live with and recover from COVID-19. Salford Credit Union's finance assistant has volunteered with them for over 5 years. They have diligently helped to set up and now maintain monitoring and analysis processes which are really important to the smooth running of the credit union. The volunteer taught themselves Excel over the years and has patiently helped to support staff and volunteers who have minimal knowledge of Excel and other IT systems. They have a genuine commitment to their volunteering and regularly goes the extra mile to make improvements. The volunteer does not welcome the limelight at all. They are an unsung hero, doing the best they can to make the credit union as good as it can be, so it can help as many people in Salford as possible. Volunteers like Anne and her husband, who lead on the Valley Community Gardens project in Swinton. During the lockdown, the gardens were a lifeline for many of the residents. They provided a COVID-safe local green space for relaxing and exercising, giving real mental health benefits. Anne was also involved with For Housing's Play Street project, helping to deliver activity packs with food vouchers to residents. Year-round, Anne makes a huge difference to the Valley Estate, leading on community projects and using her knowledge of the local community to make sure support is given to any family that needs it. Anne is a credit to her community. Kerry is a one-woman whirlwind in Broughton. She is part of a huge range of local events and activities, including producing community productions with the Lowry, working with Salix Homes to help them engage with local people, coordinating community cleanups, attending flood risk meetings, and organising community park activities, a drama club and choir. During the pandemic, Kerry has been checking on vulnerable neighbours and organising and delivering food, household goods, clothes and toys. Kerry is kind and non-judgmental. She is trusted and respected locally. This makes her an amazing community network, putting her local people in touch with services that can help. Kerry helps to make Broughton a better place to live. She goes above and beyond whilst caring for her 2 children and holding 3 jobs. 18 months ago, Ronnie started driving around Salford and Manchester with hot meals and water to hand out to people who are homeless. He did this 5 nights a week on his own until he recruited a few helpers and started to provide hot drinks. This is how the Don't Walk Past group was formed. Ronnie is the heartbeat of the group and has grown it over the past year and a half. Local food chains, cooks and bakers now provide surplus food, and there is a core team who help up to 100 people every night, providing hot and cold drinks and food as well as clothes, sleeping bags and toiletries. Ronnie is a proud Salfordian, trusted by the people he supports on the streets, and although he's always in the background and out of the limelight, he is the one pulling the group together, and without him it just wouldn't work in the same way.
In a year where young people have had key moments in their lives disrupted and have been, at times, unfairly blamed for virus spikes, we want to make sure they are recognised and celebrated for their contribution to Salford. This award is in memory of our colleague Louise Murray, who sadly passed away in December 2019. Louise was passionate about giving young people a voice and championing their futures. Belle has volunteered with Arts Let Loose CIC for several years, and she has helped develop the organisation to what it is now. Belle began by supporting the delivery of activities at events across Salford, and she now has an even more active role assisting the design and creation of over 1,000 free arts packs for children. Since lockdown, Belle has helped and supported Arts Let Loose immensely, and even when things have been difficult, she has shown determination and resilience. Belle has been able to bring enjoyment and fun into children's lives across Salford during these challenging times. Brooke gives her time freely to support other young people in Salford. As part of her Duke of Edinburgh Award with Scorpio Community Development CIC in association with Co-op Academy Swinton, Brooke began volunteering, being a youth mentor with Lark Hill Primary School. Brooke is also a member of the Mafeking 217 Young Leader Unit, assisting with teaching young people in a range of outdoor safety and development skills. Prior to lockdown, she supported children in physical and creative development to build their confidence and resilience. Brooke has a caring nature and is a true volunteer who just wants to help across the city. Demi Lee has been a committed and enthusiastic volunteer since she was 11, dedicating her time and energy to helping children in Salford. Prior to the pandemic, Demi Lee volunteered at Life Centre's Make Lunch Holiday Club sessions. Having attended the club herself, Demi Lee knows how important they are to families and wanted to give back. During the pandemic, Demi Lee has continued to volunteer, helping to deliver Good Thoughts bags, which make a real difference to families in these difficult times. Demi Lee's consistent volunteering has taken pressure off the Life Centre staff and has helped them to support more families. Jan volunteers with Warm Hut as a teaching assistant at their homework club. He has been one of their most reliable volunteers, giving his time for the past 2 years. Jan is a young student himself, and he has helped Warm Hut's homework club members to improve their numeracy and literacy skills and has supported their learning. Jan is a dedicated volunteer. He uses his knowledge and skills to support young people who come from disadvantaged backgrounds and homes where parents may struggle to help their children with homework.
Volunteer teams support VCSE organisations to make a difference to the lives of people in Salford and can help the organisations do more and reach more people who could benefit from their services. Being There's committed team of volunteers support the charity to deliver a range of free services to people with life-limiting illnesses. When the pandemic hit, the volunteer team did not hesitate to switch from their regular roles to telephone befriending. The volunteers had been phoning their clients weekly to check on their support needs, identify issues, provide a listening ear, and use their sense of humour to cheer them up when they felt down. Many of the clients have no family, friends, or other support networks in their lives, so support from the volunteers has been crucial during this pandemic. Being there as volunteers, spend quality time building rapport with the clients over the phone, getting to know them on a personal level, sharing stories about the past and present. It isn't just a phone call, it makes people feel heard and valued. Many of the volunteer team are over 70 and have been shielding too, yet they have listened to others with empathy while enduring difficult times of their own. The volunteer team have gone above and beyond all expectations, making over 600 calls to support the mental and emotional well-being of Being There's clients. The volunteer team at Dancing with Dementia have been part of many partnerships and projects to improve the mental and physical well-being of people living with dementia and their carers. Their teamwork includes supporting guests to attend ballroom events, providing entertainment, socialising activities, and helping to roll out the Dementia Buddy device. When the doors were closed at the Palace Ballroom as a result of coronavirus, Dancing with Dementia's volunteers opened other doors to continue to support their guests. This included working in partnership with a cafe to provide hot meals and delivering food parcels and PPE to over 350 people. The deliveries were much more than a hot meal. They provided connection and a friendly face in tough times. The volunteer team also provided residents in care homes with gifts, dolls and treats to show that they are cared for. Volunteers have been supporting people with weekly phone calls, which has made a real difference to those self-isolating. The Ability Cooperative volunteer team at Prince's Park Garden Centre give their time to support adults with learning disabilities, coexisting physical disabilities and poor mental health. The volunteers run activities around gardening and horticulture, engage service users in activities and take care of their holistic needs. The team stepped up when COVID struck. They were aware that service users were isolated in their home, without contact, without activities and in some cases without food. The team was eager to help and the organisation started up an emergency Meals on Wheels service to support its service users and adults with learning disabilities and physical disabilities throughout Salford. The team of volunteers delivered freshly cooked meals to the homes of some of Salford's most disadvantaged and isolated people. The volunteer team became much more than delivery drivers, as in some cases they were the only contact with the outside world people had, so the volunteers made sure to stop, chat and make that contact count.
Voluntary organisations, community groups, social enterprises and mutual aid groups make a huge difference to people in Salford. Many have had to make significant changes to the way they work as a result of coronavirus, and some have been born out of the response to the pandemic. When the coronavirus hit, Langworthy Cornerstone wanted to do something to support the local community in these difficult times. As a lot of people in the area were isolated or shielding, a key part of their response work involved food package deliveries. Thanks to funding, these food parcels could be provided free of charge. Cornerstone's reduced team delivered over 100 packages a week. Many of the parcels went to sheltered accommodation to support those most at risk from COVID. During the summer holiday, Langworthy Cornerstone set up a free kids club providing a packed lunch for children and soup for their parents. In response to need, they expanded the service to deliver a breakfast club. Over the 6 weeks, the team provided 921 lunches and 674 breakfast meals. This has been a challenging time for Langworthy Cornerstone, coping with increasing demands with a smaller staff and volunteer team, but it's all been worth it to be there for their community. Little Hulton Big Local have been working in partnership with other voluntary and community groups to maximise the support available to local residents during the pandemic. They redirected their work to focus on emergency response, including assisting the Mustard Tree Little Hulton with their food pantry and delivering shopping, prescriptions, food parcels and nappies. Through their charity, Community Little Hulton, they've secured over £70,000 to fund emergency response and activities for children and young people. This included funding to support Women with Wings' diaspora food parcels, Broughton and Little Hulton Step Into Action's Holiday Hunger Response, and Bethany Church's weekly food runs. In June, the community hub reopened as a small food and essentials hub. The need for a collective food response has been vital in Little Hulton, with the local food bank and community cafes closed earlier in the year, followed by the food pantry. Little Hulton Big Local have been offering a food parcel service once a week from the community hub. They are currently providing over 50 food parcels a week, supporting over 160 people. The partnership working of all the groups who stepped up and worked together has helped to ensure food and essentials reach those who need them most in Little Hulton and Broughton. The Federation of Jewish Services, the Fed, have been providing social care services for people in the Jewish and local community in Greater Manchester since 1867. Their services include support groups, a community cafe, play schemes for children with additional needs, and specialist dementia and end-of-life care in Heathlands Village Care Home. As a team, the Fed have gone through so much since March, including the loss of people they care for, as well as several of their long-term volunteers. The staff and volunteers have worked throughout the pandemic, many at the front line of delivering services. In response to the challenge of separation of residents from their loved ones, the Fed got creative. The resulting Pencils and Crayons project connected residents at Heathlands Village with the local community, who wrote cards and messages for residents in huge numbers. Coronavirus meant that their community groups could no longer go ahead, so they switched to providing well-being checks, emotional support and practical advice online and via telephone calls. The Fed also delivered shopping and medication to the most vulnerable members of the community. In the first 6 months of the pandemic, they saw huge demand for their services and supported 685 individuals. Salford's COVID-19 Mutual Aid Coalition is a networking group which was set up to get help where it was needed across Salford when the pandemic hit. It was formed by Sarah Whitehead from Community Pride CIC, Jane Broom from Salford Survivor Project, and Jenny Smith from Claremont Hall CIC. Working behind the scenes are representatives from other local community groups and organisations. The networking group ensures that people are directed to and given help from the most appropriate local services or organisations. The group members have adapted and gone above and beyond their usual duties, providing rapid response and crisis support at all hours. The networking group has collected, coordinated and distributed thousands of essential items, including food parcels, cleaning products, PPE, period products, homemade meals for those shielding, well-being packs for children and adults, and televisions for those in temporary accommodation during lockdown. The impact the group has had has been far-reaching, and their members really encapsulate the true spirit of Salford. Sovereign House makes a huge difference to the future of young people they work with by giving them employability and life skills through their computer learning programme. The programme offers children who may otherwise not have access to a computer the opportunity to build an in-demand skill set and gain confidence in their abilities. The computer programming classes have not only given the students new skills, but have helped to give them a strong belief in themselves. The classes help to encourage individuality and respect for others, to develop leadership skills, and to build up the children's confidence and self-worth. The students are supported by the organisation's volunteers and also their peers. The classes are all-inclusive and of mixed age and ability. Topics on social issues are raised and discussed in class, including bullying, self-esteem, bereavement, dementia and leadership. Motivational and professional speakers are also invited to share their life stories with the children and offer insight into new worlds and experiences. Sovereign House empowers children in Salford to reach their full potential.
We want to say a huge thank you to everyone who was nominated in the Heart of Salford Awards this year. You are making a difference in Salford.
Thank you.